Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is Carson Rouse, and welcome back to Business Buzz, where we focus on business, entrepreneurship, and investing. Today, I'm going to be going through the 4 best fast food franchises to get yourself started with. Fast food franchises are increasingly becoming known as great business opportunities. For example, I bet you every time you drive past good old Dunkin' Donuts and you look over, there's going to be a line to the road full of a bunch of angry Karens. People just can't seem to get enough of fast food. I mean, I can't either. I'm addicted just as so many other Americans. And if you pick the right chain, you could end up making yourself tons of money. And then you could expand and buy more franchises, and it's just a cycle of money. Now, keep in mind though, franchises are definitely not cheap to get yourself involved in. They have pretty expensive startup costs, so if you're a broke boy, get the F out of here. I'm just kidding. I want you guys to watch this video even if you don't have a lot of money right now, because someday you could have enough money to buy a franchise. Because I know that most people watching my channel probably don't have millions of dollars, I will be covering mostly cheaper, fast food franchises to get involved in. Again, they are still going to cost you a pretty penny, but they're on the lower end price for the most part. So yeah, I'm just going to be going over some of the best ones for you to look out for. Number 3 is one of my favorites ever, so stay tuned for that. Also, I need 23 likes on this video. Make sure there's 23. Number 1, Baskin-Robbins. Baskin-Robbins is the largest ice cream chain worldwide with just under 8,000 locations around the globe. Part of their success is just due to the quality of their ice cream. I mean, who doesn't love Baskin-Robbins ice cream? And they have over 1,300 flavors that they've put out. Also, I'm not sure if you knew this, but Baskin-Robbins is owned by Dunkin' Brands, which of course also owns Dunkin' Donuts. So if you invest in Dunkin' stock, you'll also be getting Baskin-Robbins. And I personally am invested in Dunkin' stock. If you want to see more of what I'm invested in, there's actually a link down below to see my whole portfolio. Baskin-Robbins is actually one of the cheaper franchises to get yourself started in, and you can of course start by buying a pre-existing franchise or developing your own new one in a new location. If you decide to develop your own separate new location, this will be more expensive, and there are 2 requirements. You're going to need to have liquid assets of over 100 grand. Liquid assets basically means stuff like cash that aren't tied up in real estate and stuff like that. And you're going to need to have a net worth of over $200,000. And net worth is basically all of your assets put together minus your liabilities. While these are pretty big numbers, they're not out of the world, you know what I mean? You don't got to be a millionaire to own a Baskin-Robbins franchise, and I'm sure for a lot of you guys watching, this is within your reach. When developing your own new location, at the lower end, you're going to need at least 100 grand, but again, you don't got to pay that all in just straight cash. You don't got to be balling that high up. You can take out loans and finance and stuff like that to help you out. There's also a $25,000 franchise fee just to operate under their brand, and they do take 6% in royalties, which isn't like out of this world high, but it is a bit on the higher end. The good news is though that when you first start out, they don't start taking royalty fees. They don't start out just killing you with that 6%. When you first start out, you're gonna start at like 2%, and once you get to year 5, then they'll start taking 6%, once you're established and your money's all good. And for those veterans out there, honestly, there are some great franchise deals for you veterans. And with Baskin-Robbins, it's no exception. They waive the franchise fee for you. So right there, you're saving $25,000. They also charge basically no royalty fee in your first 5 years. I'm telling you, if you're a veteran, look around for some good franchises. They give you a lot of deals for a lot of these companies. Number 2, 7-Eleven. I'll bet most of you have been in a 7-Eleven at one point in a time or another. It's just such a popular convenience store. And I know it's not technically like fast food, but they do sell fast food within the store, so I will be counting it. This is the world's largest convenience store with the best brand recognition with over 60,000 locations worldwide. You probably recognize them because they are involved in so many gas stations worldwide, especially in North America and Asia regions of the world. The great thing about a store like this is that 80% of Americans own a car, which means constant foot traffic around your area, because even though gas isn't such a high yield thing, they're going to be around your store, which means they're going to go in and buy a candy bar and buy a soda and buy a hot dog, and that's how you're going to make your money. Now let's talk about the startup cost of running a 7-Eleven, because they do vary quite widely depending on many factors. The location of your store, whether you're developing your own or buying an old one, and just the overall size of the store can all be huge factors on how much startup cost you're going to charge. Typically though, your initial investment is going to be anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 starting off. But don't get too excited because it can be way more expensive than that. If you decide to develop your own very large 7-Eleven in like California, you can get charged upwards of $1 million, in some cases more, for starting up your own 7-Eleven just as an initial investment. So just because of that, I would probably recommend just going out and buying an existing one that's already shown good sales numbers. It'll be cheaper and you know it's gonna work. The best thing about buying a business, a franchise like 7-Eleven, is that it's basically a turnkey business. And what I mean by that is that it's pretty passive. You're not gonna have to do much work. The business is kind of well run without you there. So you're just gonna be raking in the profits while you're chilling on a beach in Monaco somewhere. Now, obviously, this isn't the case in every situation, but if you hire the right management, this sure can be the case. And I know there are some people who own many 7-Eleven franchises and barely have to step foot in the doors. The great thing about 7-Eleven too is that once you purchase a franchise, you're basically good to go and up and running within 3 months, whereas other franchises, you're gonna have to wait years for it to develop. The website has a bunch of great details and Q&As about opening a franchise, and they have a list of all their open locations, so I will link that website in the description. So if you find one on this list that you are interested in buying, I would just recommend calling the number on the contact info for that specific location. Number 3, my favorite, Chick-fil-A. Last year, Chick-fil-A was voted America's favorite fast food chain, and that's just a big deal. So if you have the means to get involved in this franchise, you know, I wouldn't hold off on it. They have such great brand loyalty and everybody loves Chick-fil-A. A crazy fact about Chick-fil-A is that their average location versus an average McDonald's location brings in twice the amount of revenue, and they aren't open on Sundays. A lot of this is due to their higher pricing, but honestly, a lot more of this is to do with their efficiency and just how quick they get people in and out, and just how many people show up to their locations. I know from experience, when I go through a McDonald's line, and I know this is anecdotal, but when I go through a McDonald's line, it can take 15 minutes to get me through a short line. When I go through Chick-fil-A and I'm thinking, the line's so long, I can get done in 5 or 10 minutes. I don't know what they're doing in there. I don't know if they're like abusing their workers, making them work faster, but keep doing it because it's working. You guys aren't gonna believe me here, but the minimum investment for starting up a Chick-fil-A franchise is $10,000. Isn't this amazing? It's only $10,000. Aren't you excited? Well, there is one catch. They are extremely selective on who they put in the seat as a franchise owner. Extremely selective. Like, you gotta be Jesus to own a Chick-fil-A franchise, it seems like. You gotta meet all these requirements, and you gotta have the right attitude and mentality to even be considered for the job. This should never deter you from trying though. I mean, you never know. Take some chances in life. What's the worst that could happen? They can call you up and say, you know, never try to buy a franchise. You're ugly and fat. Get the heck out of here. No, they're not going to do that. And even if they do, oh well. And again, Chick-fil-A is a little crazy with their franchise owners. I mean, they basically make it so it is your whole life. You are not allowed to get involved in any other business ventures, which is my biggest turnoff to this franchise. But if you're just wanting to go balls deep in something, Chick-fil-A franchise is perfect for you. You know, they want a loyal person who just always is thinking about chicken. Oftentimes, franchise owners will work over 40 hours a week managing and running their specific restaurants. I mean, this is no joke. Like, yeah, it pays very well, but you're gonna have to put a lot of work into it. And again, it's your life. So it might be a cheap startup cost, but it's gonna take up no good work-life balance here. So why would you want to put yourself through this? I mean, yeah, it's cheap, but it's going to take up your whole life. There's no passiveness to it. Well, that might change your mind when you hear that you're probably going to end up making well over $200,000 a year running your own franchise. In fact, there's many people who make a lot more than that. Lastly, number 4, Five Guys. Five Guys has already been voted one of the best fast food brands out there, and they are on the rise to becoming an elite fast food chain, like up there with the names McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Chick-fil-A, things like that. They're definitely a higher quality fast food chain. They make good quality tasting food, not exactly healthy food, but you know, high quality, and they only have about 1,500 locations worldwide, so you can get in this early, start making money, and buy more Five Guys franchises, and just become a Five Guys franchise guru. Due to their voting and already being classified as such a great fast food restaurant and people just jumping on board and buying franchises, you got to get on this train early. I'm telling you, it's like getting Dunkin' franchises 20 years ago. You got to get on this a little early so you can build up your wealth and start buying more and more Five Guys franchises. They do have some requirements though that I will be going over. You must have $250,000 in liquid assets. You also have to have at least a $500,000 net worth. There's also a franchise fee ranging between $50,000 to $100,000, and they take 6% royalties of your sales. So this definitely isn't a cheap franchise per se, but they definitely are cheap compared to like starting up a McDonald's or a Wendy's franchise, which could put you in millions of dollars over your head. Most people start out shelling out around $150,000 to $300,000 starting their own Five Guys franchise, but remember that financing is an option, so it doesn't have to all be liquid assets going out of your pocket. Hope you took something of value. I hope that you will one day become a franchise owner. Comment down below which of these 4 franchises is your favorite and the one that you would most likely start up, and comment ones that we may have missed that you think are better. Anyway, I will see you guys in the next video.